In this video, I'm going to be talking about a question that I get all the time here on YouTube, through the DMs on Instagram, and through email. And that question is, what do I wish I knew earlier before opening and running a gym? So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. I'm going to give you guys 3 things that I wish I knew, and if I did, would have helped me so much in the process of opening and running a gym. So before we even get into the video, if you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button. If you guys like videos like this and you want us to continue to put more out, please hit the like button. It really helps us out. Share these videos to a larger audience so we can continue to make more of an impact. So let's get right into it. So the first one is just expect it to cost more money and take longer than you think. Now for me, I thought I was gonna open on a certain day. All right, that day came, all right, maybe 2 weeks from now. And then that day would come, I'd say, all right, maybe 2 weeks from then, right? Things are just going to take longer because there's so many moving parts, things that need to get done in a certain order. It's just going to prolong the process. That's just how it works. Same thing with how much it's going to cost. There's so many little expenses that you don't even think of when estimating how much it's gonna cost. So for a rough rule of thumb, estimate it's gonna take twice as long and it's gonna cost you twice as much money. And that's just to be safe, and a lot of times that's usually what's actually going to happen. So if you guys are going to look at your budget and your timeline, make sure that you factor this in, right? That's fine. So when you're sorry. So when you're going to look at your budget and your timeline for opening and running your gym, make sure you factor this in. So if you're expecting to open, say, in September 1, and you're expecting money to start flowing in at that date, and you're relying on that, you have to factor in that you might not be open till October or November, or even December or January, right? You might not have money coming in during that period when you think you would. So if you're banking on that and then it takes longer, now you're already behind, now your budget's completely off, and now you might go out of business before you even open, right? Now that's obviously a drastic example, but that's just something that you really need to think about. Same thing when it comes to factoring in your budget, how much it's gonna cost. If you only have 50 grand and your budget says it's gonna cost 45, it's probably gonna end up going over that budget. So you need to make sure that you have some extra room to work with when it comes time for that gym to cost more money and for it to take longer for you to open. So it's just something to think about and keep in mind when going through this process, estimating your numbers and estimating your timeline for when you're going to be able to open. Now the second point is to expect certain ebbs and flows with the busyness of your gym, right? From both a training perspective and from a rental perspective. So depending on where you live in the country, you could be pretty seasonal for rentals. For me, it's pretty seasonal where the winters, late falls and early springs are my busiest time for rentals. So I can expect more money to be coming in from rentals during that point. But again, I didn't know that going into running this gym. So I was expecting, okay, maybe I'm gonna get 20 rentals a week throughout the entire year. That's not gonna happen in the summer. It might happen in the winter, but it's not going to in the summer. I wasn't accounting for the ebbs and flows with how the seasons work, people in season for basketball, people in the off season, people traveling in the summer, right? These are all things that you don't normally factor in when going through your numbers. You're expecting, I think I can make $3,000 a week from training every single week. That's realistically probably not gonna happen. I'm not saying the 3,000 number, but I'm just saying to consistently hit a certain number every single week is most likely not gonna happen. So, okay, maybe your high end's 4,000, maybe your low end's 1,500, so maybe your average is 2,500 spread out across the year. So because of these ebbs and flows, you might have to be a little more conservative with your numbers. And because of that, maybe one month you make more money, you need to save a little bit more of that money because you're gonna have more expenses in a certain time period of the year, or you're not gonna be making as much. So you need to use that money for the times that you're not making as much money. So something to think about. Again, don't expect what happens in 1 month to happen every single month across the year. It can totally depend on where you live. So overall, just expect a lot of seasonality with running the gym. Some weeks will be packed, some weeks will be pretty slow, and that's completely okay as long as you factor that in and you're expecting that. Now, the third point is to understand your real net margin. So when people are running their numbers, they're like, okay, I feel like I can rent the gym for, say, $50 just to make easy numbers. I'm gonna pay someone $15 an hour to run the gym during that time. So my net margin is 35, when in reality, it's not. Same thing with training. Okay, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna charge $100 per hour. Say I take out $40 for the hour for the court, I'm profiting about $60. Again, that's simply not the case. There's so many other expenses that come into play when running the gym. So electricity, your lease, heat, Wi-Fi, all these different, paying for your employees, these are all different things that factor in. So maybe you're thinking, okay, it's gonna cost me $15 an hour for this employee, but again, how much per hour is that electricity gonna cost you? How much per hour is that Wi-Fi costing you? How much per hour based on what you're putting in the entire month for extra basketballs, for bathroom equipment, for waters, for repairs, right? All these different things factor into your hourly cost. So in reality, it might not be $15, it might be $25 per hour is your real true cost. So you think you're gonna profit 35 when in reality, you're gonna profit 25. And then off that 25 that you're profiting, you have fees for your LLC each year. You also have taxes. So now at the end of the year, you're really looking at $15 off of that 50 that you were charging, right? So you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna make $100,000 this year. I'm gonna pay, say, $50,000 for the lease or whatever it may be, right? Round numbers. I'm gonna pay $10,000 for employees. Boom, I'm gonna make $40,000 this year, right? Simply not gonna work like that, right? So you have to keep this in mind. So many other expenses that are going to chip away at that profit that you think you're going to have. So at the end of the month, if you're expecting $3,000, you're probably gonna end up somewhere around $1,500, right? And again, I'm just using random numbers just to give you guys an example, but something to keep in mind. If you guys know this going in, you can properly make estimates on how much you're gonna make, how much it's gonna cost, and what you're really going to be taking home. So overall, these are just a few simple points of things that I wish I knew heading into opening and running my own gym. Certainly more points that I could have added and that I will add in the future videos, but this is something that I hope can help you guys if you're trying to open a gym, if you're trying to run a gym, all things to think about, have in the back of your mind so you guys can properly plan for opening your gym and running a successful gym. If you guys want more information on doing this, head over to Mastery Hoops. We have a bunch of videos on opening your gym, way more detailed, take you through the whole process if this is something that you guys want to do or you're in the process of already doing yourself. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope I provided some value. If I did, hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Appreciate it. See you soon.